Hey everyone, CPO here, and we are on Heli Hangout number 29, and this is the 29th of August. Coincidence? Absolutely. But at any rate, should be a good talk. We have some of our usual friends on, so I'm sure others will pop in here after a bit. I'll start out. Yes, my beard is getting long, my hair is getting short. And so that's been the talk around my household actually most of the week. So um, and at the office, everybody seems to notice the beard these days. That's good though. Let's see, what have I been up to the last couple of weeks? I've been working on I know a lot of you guys have seen this on Facebook or Google Plus, but I've been building a 3D printer which has been kind of fun. Got some test prints going of that. It's actually a Kickstarter that three of us went in on a year ago, so probably, I don't know, early summer last year, and we were expecting a December delivery, and of course, like all good Kickstarters, it took twice as long as we expected. But we did get the printer. As a matter of fact, it showed up while I was at IRCHA. So came back and then started putting that together, and it's been going pretty good. It's a rigid bot, if you're curious about the model. It's a pretty unique design. It's a steel frame design that is expandable. So right now it's a 10 by 10 print bed with basically a 10 by 10 by 10 print area, but I can expand that by just extending the frame posts and getting a larger print bed, and I can make it bigger. So that's kind of cool, but it's neat. It's my first 3D printer. I don't really know what I'm going to do with it just yet. A year ago, I had a lot of great ideas of things I wanted. Almost all of them had to do with the hobby somehow, like random heli parts or things like that. Over the course of the year since I've been waiting for it, I've forgotten most everything that I was going to build. So now I'm just waiting for that next thing to pop up that I'm like, oh, I could make that on a 3D printer. So I'm thinking like, I don't know, clamps or brackets to hang helis or planes or things to help secure wiring. I don't know. I'm just getting started though. So I've done the required calibration cube. I think that's the first thing everybody tries to print. It's kind of like the Hello World of 3D printers, which is just a little, I think I did a 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter by 20 millimeter cube, and that worked out great. The first one was a little bit thin, and I started playing with some settings like my extruder settings and got a really nice cube. Then the next thing I printed and Rifted, oh, you're not even in there anymore. Rifted was kind of wondering what this thing was. Oh, there you are. I printed a random like spring thing that I found on Thingiverse. I was just browsing looking for something interesting to print, and it took 8 hours to print it, and it was just a little plastic spring. I don't even know what it would be used for normally, but I think it's just more fun proof of concept sort of a thing. So that worked out really well. Still have some adjustments to make on the printer before I start really printing parts or things, but I don't know. I just kind of thought it'd be fun to have around. So there's three of us that went in on it. It's the only way my wife would let me buy it is split the cost. So I'm sure it's going to get a lot of use here in the near future. I've been working on an airplane. I know off topic for this hangout, but I've been building a Phoenix Tucano 40 size plane, which is, I think it might be my largest plane yet, and even more importantly, it's my first balsa plane. So it's been a lot of interesting lessons on building it, things I've never had to deal with before, such as CA hinges or trying to just do anything with balsa has been pretty interesting. So I'm hopefully gonna maiden that maybe next weekend. This weekend I'm taking off to go to Niagara Falls. I'll visit my friends in Canada. We'll be staying on that side of the falls, and just gonna going to be gone for the weekend. So when I get back, I'll try and wrap up that build and get it maidened. And then the other thing probably that you might have noticed is my Raptor E700 build, which I'm getting just about everything coming in for that build except the Raptor E700. That's the only thing I haven't even been able to get it yet because it's on back order. I'm buying it from Tower Hobbies. A huge fan of Tower Hobbies, so I always start there. And being a what do they call it? Their Super Saver member, or whatever their membership club is, you can get some pretty significant discounts plus free shipping. So I'm just waiting for it to come back into stock. They said late August, early September, so I'm thinking probably in the next week or so it'll come into stock, and then I'll be able to get that. So, but I got the blades today. I've got the motor, the ESC, the fly barless controller. I think that's it. Servos I'm going to get at the same time I get the airframe because I'm getting Futaba servos. Also, I'll get them from Tower Hobby. So I just kind of held all that in my cart and then I'll order it all at once. So, but once that stuff starts rolling in, I'm going to be working on that pretty hard and heavy, and I'll be doing build videos on that. I haven't really seen any 700 Raptor 700 build videos. Nick Maxwell has done a couple little at his kitchen table sort of workshop type things on particular parts of the build. And then I saw a guy do a time-lapse video, but not my type of build video where it's kind of, from start to finish through the whole process. So I figured I'd go ahead and do one of those while I'm at it. Should be interesting. At least that way, when I crash it and have to rebuild it, I'll be able to see what I did the first time.
Good approach.
Yeah, which, by the way, I still go back and look at some of my old 450 videos just to remember how I did something so that I can repeat it in the future, because I tend to forget things that I don't use very often. So as long as I know where to look it up, I'm okay. So I will admit, I do search my own videos looking for crap that I've already forgotten. So.
Oh, it happens.
I think that's about it for me. CJ is around here somewhere. I'm not exactly sure. He's out hanging with his friends. But thankfully we live in a neighborhood where I don't worry about him too much. Maybe he'll pop in later. He has been simming still. Not sure every day, but he's trying to sim every day for at least half an hour, which is huge. Yeah, to work into his schedule. Pretty exciting though, but I want him to be prepped up when we get that 700 running. So, so we'll just start down the line. Rifted, I'll start with you. How's it been going?
Well, it's been really, really well. I've been holding myself because on Friday I'm gonna fly out of city. I'm gonna go on vacations. I'm gonna go to Hawaii. So I haven't built anything. Otherwise, I'm gonna get in trouble with my wife. So we still have a little bit of a compromised time, a lot of things to do in short time. So yeah, right now I haven't built well, just tweaking a little the mini quad that I'm going to take there to Hawaii and hopefully be able to fly there. Yeah, but nothing interested. Well, I did meet a new friend that lives in the same compound that I live, pretty close. And he's flying a Raptor 700 actually, but it's a nitro powered, and he's getting a hold of it, and he wants to really want to get into the hobby. So he's going to pick quite a lot of my brain with the years of experience. So yeah, it's going to get really interested in after my vacations. So yeah, as far as building something, no, I haven't built anything. So not much to say.
Have you crashed anything?
Fortunately, no, not yet. But probably gonna do some crashes after Hawaii, or in Hawaii. I hope I don't lose my little mini quad in Hawaii. But yeah, nothing that I haven't crashed.
Nice. All right. Well, Hawaii sounds like fun.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to capture a couple of good sight scenes and well, yeah, I don't like how it flies with the DJI NASA Lite, but I ordered a NACE 32, which I wanted to replace the NASA, so it didn't arrive. So I think the NASA will do it. It flies fine, but not as I would expect it to fly. It's stressful, the good thing, but yeah, I hope to capture a lot of things there. Let's see how it flies in Hawaii.
Nice. I was actually thinking about trying to take my hexacopter out to Niagara Falls. I'm not going to take it though. I don't know. I'll probably regret not taking it. But in order for me to actually take it and use it, I've still got more work to do. I haven't really, since I got it built and maidened, I started moving on to some other projects, and I haven't really well enough where I'd feel comfortable. Number one, flying it out in an area like that, and I haven't really got the gains on the gimbal, the camera gimbal, where I want them. So I'm just not going to have time to really mess with it beforehand, but I'll probably regret it. But so on the U.S. side, I know you can't fly it because you're not allowed to fly in the national parks. But I've heard rumors that on the Canadian side, they're perfectly fine with you flying it around over the water and all that. So we'll see. This will be a good fact-finding mission, and if I get out there, it's only, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours away from here, so it's not like I can't make another trip one day. So if I decide I really wish I had it, maybe I'll plan a trip just to go out and get some video.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a concern also in Hawaii, to figure out where should I fly, and if it's a national park, I know I cannot fly. But if it's an open space, I know I'm going to fly.
Yeah, what island are you going to?
It's going to be three islands. It's what was it? It was Big Island, Honolulu, and what was
Maui.
Maui, yeah.
Has to be Maui. That's where I went. Maui was pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I know that whenever we're visiting a park, I cannot fly there. I wouldn't travel with the authorities. So yeah, I'm gonna try to fly whenever it's.
Well, go visit Mount Wanahakalugi. Get some pictures.
Yeah, and we already booked a helicopter tour, so I'm gonna be flying a real one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. This is a huge 500. I love that helicopter. I just love it. And I'm looking forward to flying that and that helicopter. It's wide open. It does not have any doors. So I'm gonna be all over the place there.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we better hit Lee before he falls asleep. It's 3 a.m. right over there.
Yeah, 20 past 3. The only reason I'm up is because I was out tonight. So as you can see, I was red and shiny, very hot here.
So I heard you talking before we went live that this is the finale for your guys' season out there. Is that right?
It's the end of the, well, it's not the end of the season, it's the end of the summer holidays. So it gets less busy after this weekend. We got the big Pro Kite World Tour here. That should be quite fun. I'm hoping to get some quadcopter. Because they're trying to break a world record on Sunday with, I think, 320 kite surfers are all going to kite together and do a trip down the coast.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to try and maybe I can get some footage with the quadcopter from above.
That would be awesome.
So I've been making some changes with the quad. was the gimbal on the front. The actual QAV quadcopter extended about 10 centimeters further forward than it does now, so I actually cut off part of it. And the gimbal on it. I'm getting a lot of feedback myself. And someone's.
Is it me?
Yeah, it must be, because it's just repeating itself.
All right. I thought I was going to be able to get away with it, but...
You could try to mute while you're not talking.
Well, that's true. I could try that.
It's very confusing. So, yeah, I've cut... there should be another part of the frame sticking out the front of the quadcopter, but I chopped it down to bring the gimbal back because it was sticking too far out the front, which was causing me to have to put the battery way out the back to balance it. So I've cut it off, and then I don't know if you can see, I've put a plate in the front with some vibration damping mounts in between. So they've got the normal vibration mounts for the QAV plus the vibration mounts for the gimbal as well. And I've been just setting up the PID values for the gimbal over the last few days, and now it's absolutely smooth. So hopefully I might get some footage with that over the next couple of days. And then the helicopter flying, I only started flying again a couple of days ago. I had a month off, but the Goblin's still flying fantastically. I actually stripped it down a little bit because there was a bit of play in the main shaft, and it actually turned out to be just one screw that was loose, but I didn't find that out until I'd taken out all the main gears and everything. But at least it showed me what the problem was. But that's flying good, and had some good flights the last couple of days. The warp I haven't flown because the pitch slider on the tail, they're getting a bit loose. The tolerances are getting a bit loose, so the blade grips on the tail are moving slightly, which is causing the tail to have a bit of a wag. So I'm just waiting for some new pitch slider arms to come in so I can to stiffen up the tolerances there. But the one thing that I'm really happy with is I wanted to be able to program the icons on both my Goblin and the Warp using the Bluetooth, but I haven't been able to do it because for some reason the Bluetooth module wouldn't link to my Android phone. So I've tried multiple different things to try to get it to work, and nothing worked, so I gave up on it. But then the other day I did a full clean install on my Mac and had to reinstall Windows. And for some reason when I reinstalled Windows, I thought I'd give it a go again and see if I could get the module to work. And I did the configuration of the icon through the software on Windows, and it did a little flash sequence that I thought, well, it's not done that before. So then I plugged it back in and put my phone on, and suddenly the application worked. So I was super happy. Now I can program my icon through my phone.
Huh, that's interesting.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what it is. I think it's something to do with the baud rate on the module, and when you configure it through the Windows, it must have set it up properly for the phone to actually see it. Maybe the way I'd received it, it wasn't ready to work with the phone. But whatever happened, it worked, and it's working perfectly with the phone now, which is why I bought the phone in the first place. So I'm super happy that I can use that now.
Nice.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm not sure why, but I've seen that in the Icon Brain forum that there are people, and I'm one of them. Bluetooth worked perfectly right off the bat, no problems at all. And there are people that have been struggling with it and still, after much work, using the same exact setup, can't get it to work.
Well, what happened, I had Windows running on Parallels before,
Right.
and for some reason I couldn't get the Bluetooth to work, or you know how the the Windows to be able to use Bluetooth from my Mac. It wouldn't see it for some reason. So I couldn't get the Bluetooth to work through the Icon software. So there's nothing I could do about it. But this time I was using VirtualBox instead of Parallel. For some reason with VirtualBox the Bluetooth worked through the computer, and that obviously allowed me to then configure the Bluetooth through the software. And so I just on the Icon software I pressed configure Bluetooth. It asked me for the password for the module, which I already knew. I clicked it and I looked at the module and it made a couple of funny flashes. I thought, well, it must have done something. And yeah, it worked. So if anybody's having problems with their phones not working, then try to go through the actual Windows software first and configure your Bluetooth. Maybe that'll help.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've got an iPhone, so I'm screwed.
Well, that's
if I was
I've
going to
been
use the
the same.
Bluetooth at home, I may as well just plug in the laptop. So.
Right.
Yeah, I had an iPhone, and that's exactly why I specifically bought this Android phone, is because I wanted to be able to do it at the field with my phone, and I was really annoyed when I found it didn't work. But for buying that phone for no reason, but yeah, it works now.
Yeah, some people have gone out buying very inexpensive, older like Galaxy tablets, the 7-inchers, picking them up for I think $50 or less. Specifically to be able to go out in the field and program their icons.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did. The phone I bought, it's a Galaxy S5, so it's the top of the range one, but it's a clone from China. So
okay.
it's exactly the same. It does everything the same. It cost me $100.
Oh, man.
So, it's $600 for a real one, $100 for a clone one, and it works.
Yeah, I remember originally we were thinking it was your phone that was the problem.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. That's what I thought. I even tried to change the Android software for another software, but no, it wasn't that. So yeah, it was just the module not being configured properly, I guess, for the phone. So everything's good. I can take it out.
Do you have access to all the parameters that you do on the full version on the computer?
Yeah, it's exactly the same. Yeah, all the same.
All the same?
Yeah, that's perfect. So I can just take off, check something, land, change it on the phone, bang, straight back up again.
Yeah.
So before it was just so annoying. You got your Mac, then you've got to put your virtual Windows on, and then it's just a nightmare. I would set it up once, and if the helicopter flew reasonably well, then I'd just forget it. I'd just leave it like that.
Yeah, I feel you there. That's actually one of the main things I really liked about the GT5 that came with my E550 is it's just got that little display and the touch-sensitive control, so you can go in and make those settings on the fly. I didn't realize how much I liked that until I started trying to mess with the icon again, and I'm like, I got to go plug it in to just change a gain setting or something.
Yeah.
I haven't tried the Bluetooth module though yet.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they've banned Apple from being able to use a Bluetooth. I don't understand why.
Did they ban Apple, or did Apple decide that they didn't want to approve their software?
Well, that's a good question too. I don't know.
Well, the issue actually has to do with to be able to do that type of Bluetooth access, you have to have hardware level access, and Apple refuses. Well, I shouldn't say Apple refuses. You can purchase a license to get that, but it's not cheap. So if Icon was to do that and say, we want to develop this for the Icon, two things they'd have to do is pay for the Bluetooth license, which I believe is well over $1,000, and they'd have to develop special hardware for it. So it would make the I saw a breakdown of it one time. One of the developers actually did a breakdown, cost breakdown, and it would cost something like almost $200 more for them to actually come up with the hardware and write the software to make it work on iOS. And they just said that's just not feasible. Nobody will buy it.
It's all about money.
Always.
Yep. All right. Well, Dave, while you're talking, let's move to you. You're next on my list.
Okay. I haven't been doing much. I started for some unknown reason. I'm wondering why I started building a scratch-built foam plane.
Because you like to punish yourself?
Yeah. And usually when I do these scratch builds, what I do is I do a lot of searching and I look at a lot of different designs and a lot of layouts and see what everybody's doing, and I kind of pick and choose the best of what I think are of what I see out there, and I just put it all together in my own. And one of the really interesting things to me was one of the coolest wing designs I found. I didn't even know this until after I built it, that Lee is actually the one who did the drawing for it.
That's awesome.
So that was pretty cool because it's like, I know that guy. So it's definitely, I think, one of the better wing designs out there that I've seen. Just the way you did with the rolled leading edge, that's just really nice.
Well, I have to say that the first wing design, it wasn't mine. It's Tony, the owner of the Ford.
Absolutely.
And then when I built it the first time, I made some alterations, which was the folding over of the KFM foil from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
Just made a much smoother leading edge. So that was my contribution, but the rest was Tony.
I thought you were going to say that you were trying to build Tony's design and you screwed up and came up with your own design by accident. That's kind of how the blues were invented too. But
yeah.
It sounds like you intentionally added, so I'll give you credit for it.
Yeah. If for those of you who didn't know, it was like before. It was just three pieces of foam board all cut separately, all stuck together. So what I did is I took the top layer and the bottom layer and then opened them up so they were one piece. And then I cut the center layer, and then I just basically folded the top over so the center layer was in between them. So then you got a nice smooth round leading edge between the upper and lower surface.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way he did it, the way he notched the center layer so that when you roll the bottom layer over top, it comes together just seamlessly. It's a nice rounded, smooth edge, not only on the leading edge but out on the end of the wing. It's really well done.
Yeah, because I don't, some people like cut the foam or stuff like that. And what I do is I just take out about an inch of the paper on the inside, and then as you then fold it over, the foam on the inside just sort of bunches together, and then it makes a really nice round curve, rather than cutting it and you end up with some sort of fold or crease in the paper.
Yeah, but I have a new. I thought this was going to be easy. I thought it'd be done in a few days, but I got to say, these foam builds are not that simple. I used to build balsa wood planes back in the 80s, and these aren't. It's not that much more easy. There's a lot more to it, especially when you're doing it from scratch. Like you're taking different designs from different planes and you're trying to incorporate them into your design. Then you got to really think it through what you're doing and take baby steps along the way. But it's done a couple things for me. It's given me a newfound appreciation for going out and buying a kit that's already designed and set up for you. So building a kit seems difficult until you decide to go and just say, I'm going to build this from the ground up. I'm going to go buy bulk material and just start doing it. It's a different animal altogether. So it's been fun, educational, and frustrating at times. But thank you, Lee, for the wing. I appreciate that. The other thing that was interesting was that kind of got me started off on something else and more simming because of it. I believe it was Clay who posted a video about a week ago or so with his heli, and he's doing these nice slow pyros. Was it you, Clay, that posted that? Trying to get some input on your
Yeah, I posted a little video on YouTube, just tinkering with the icon because icon's new to me. I've got it on the 550, and coming from the Beast X, it was all push button right there. You didn't have to go back like we were just talking about, back and forth to the computer. But yeah, I was just trying to figure out gain settings and get it dialed into where I wanted it, and there's not space out in my front yard, and really my neighbor's front yard is what that is, because I have a tree in mine. But there's no space to fly. But you can hover and you can tinker with it a little bit, but you can't open it up. But yeah, that was me. I posted it a little bit.
Yeah, he was doing something that I still can't do, and it's the only reason why I can't do it is because I don't put the time into doing it. But he's doing these nice slow nose in pyros, right in his front yard, and it's just I still can't do that. I could fly fine, but to sit there and actually hover and hold it nice and steady like he was doing, nose in, it escapes me. I can't do that for very long before I lose it. So just watching you do that has given me the desire to actually try put some more sim time in and get my heli out there and actually work on being able to do that.
Thank you.
Because that's I could do a lot of things. What I've discovered, it's really easy to fly and to some degree stick bang a little bit. That's not too difficult to do. What's really difficult to do is that real precision, slow, maneuvers that like you were doing. That takes a little bit more skill than some of the other stuff that looks really complicated. So I have a Terra 450 that I built from, it's my very first heli, and I put the ZYX on it, and I've had it since day one. And that heli has actually never crashed per se. I've had a few hard landings with it, but I've actually never buried it in the ground or really busted much, other than like landing gear. I think once I bent a tail boom on a hard landing. But anyway, I decided it was time to get rid of the ZYX, and I upgraded it to a K-bar, which is, I guess, a V-bar clone, although I'm not sure what the definition of clone is, because the hardware is actually different. It runs the same software, it has a different processor, uses different sensors, but it does use the same software as far as setting it up. I think they use an older firmware, but my 450 now flies amazing compared to the ZYX. It flies a lot like my 500 with the icon. I mean, you point that tail somewhere, I don't care what the wind is doing, the tail stays pointed right where you put it. So I'm really enjoying that. Other than that, that's all I've really been up to. Other than, I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. Just a couple things that I saw in the last day was that, has anybody else seen Align's new 600 FL head? They came out with a new 600, and it's not DFC.
No, I haven't seen it.
So now people are wondering, is Align dumping the DFC head? Also, I believe somebody said that Saab is going to be doing the same thing, dumping the DFC head. So anyway, I was just curious if you guys have heard anything about that. The other thing that I got interesting in my email today, because I haven't seen it anywhere, I even went looking for it and I can't find it, but so maybe it was like a pre-release notice or not, but Spectrum sent me an email today that they have a new FPV model coming out, and I ignored it at first because I just glanced by it, but I don't know if you've ever seen or familiar with their Vapor airplane.
Oh yeah. I saw this as well. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I mean, I think it's like, it's one of those super tiny, ultralight, little tiny things that, are, I guess for the most part, are very intro level type for flying. And it's actually they have an FPV setup on that thing, which is amazing. But I went to Spectrum's website and there's nothing there about it. I searched on it, Googled it. All I can find anything about it is in this email that Horizon sent me.
They have it now on their Horizon Hobby website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was about to say it's probably on Horizon, not Spectrum, but yeah, I got the email too.
Oh, maybe that's what I was wrong. I looked at Spectrum and not Horizon.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was surprised too that that Vapor is known for being a super ultralight, bare minimum sort of a thing, and
Right.
they must have some really like tiny FPV gear on there.
Yeah, it must be like super low power or something, because that thing cannot possibly hold very much weight.
I'm trying to look for it right now. 449 with the headset. That's plain FPV and goggles.
Interesting.
That's pretty
I
impressive.
wonder how those goggles. I wonder how they compare to the Fat Shark.
I wouldn't say even close.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
There it is. Pre-order before 9/11. I was just looking here. A 150 milliamp battery. So the battery in the plane with the FPV is 150 milliamp, and the headset battery is a 760 milliamp.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
Sounds very interesting.
You guys see that video playing?
Yeah.
It's fun to play with, but I don't think I could put that much in it.
Yeah, it's a little expensive, but man, that looks like fun.
Yeah, but you'd be limited pretty much to just taking indoor shots since that thing wouldn't blast out. So
Yeah, try to fly that in a 5 miles wind, and you're gonna regret it.
Yeah, that's true. The practical use is pretty limited. Oh, it's Fat Shark.
Fat Shark.
Probably are the predators, the lower end of the Fat Sharks. Oh, basically you're buying the goggles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get the plane for free.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Well, I guess that doesn't. I guess that's not too bad a deal then.
Well, they look like they're having fun, so
Yeah, he has his spotter.
it's true. Yeah, just don't let the FAA see them.
Wow, that thing is tiny. That
You
plane
never
is
know.
smaller than I thought.
They're breaking the law.
That's crazy. 150 milliamp battery, 1S battery running that thing. Huh. Cool. Yeah, I saw that, and I'm kind of like you, Dave. I sort of just dismissed it, and then later on went back and thought, that would be kind of interesting. But you guys are right. I mean, the application for something like that is pretty limited. I don't even know. I mean, you'd have to be dead calm even just to go out and play around in the front yard.
Right.
Yeah, but for winter, when you fly in any place at big stadiums or whatever place you fly when it's winter, it's gonna be a blast.
Yeah, but I mean, how fun is FPV with such a limited environment like that? I mean, part of the coolness of FPV is being able to like go through or around or over something cool.
Oh, you can get around a lot of people and you're gonna fly within the same space. You're gonna have a blast.
I guess. Either way, it's still pretty cool that they got a full FPV kit on that ultralight plane.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we'll see the reviews later.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that Fat Shark teleporter headset. It's got digital head tracking though, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that's just an entry level thing to get people hooked, so they come back and spend more.
Yeah, so that's interesting, and maybe if this is the case, I've never noticed it, but does Fat Shark and Horizon Hobby have a relationship? I mean, are they partnered somehow?
Not that I know.
I mean, they obviously are now with this plane, but I hadn't really drawn the connection between those two companies before, so.
That was something I was not looking forward, but you never know. It's probably going to be good for their business. So better quality and, well, hopefully better quality and lower down the prices. You never know.
Yeah. All right, Dave. So one more question for you. What are your plans for your scratch build? Are you planning on doing FPV with that, or just a normal flyer?
Honestly, I haven't really thought that far. Yeah, probably just for the moment. Although I am probably looking at getting some sort of FPV set up in the very near future. So I don't know if that will go on there or not. I'm just trying to figure all this out. It's been interesting, like trying to determine motor sizing has always been difficult for me because there's so many options and so many choices. But anyway, I ended up ordering a motor for it, and I thought I did fairly well until I received it. I didn't pay attention to one thing, or actually it wasn't. There was one thing that wasn't mentioned in the ad, or maybe I just didn't pay attention to it. The motor shaft is 5 millimeters, which I thought is no big deal. What I didn't realize was the prop spinner is one of the screws on top of that. So the prop spinner, which they don't mention in the ad, is even larger. It's actually 7.75 millimeters.
Oh, okay. So your prop hole diameter has to be pretty large then, huh?
Right. And so I'm probably going to have to drill it out or find another spinner that'll fit on a 5 millimeter shaft. So little things like that if you're not looking for it, it'll sneak up and bite you without you knowing it. And that's what so far that's the only thing that's really bit me on this build. The nice thing about working with foam, if something doesn't fit or it doesn't work out just right, cut it out, tear it up, and do it again. So.
Are you using? Is this a Dollar Tree foam?
It is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I really dig building with that. I built a couple of Bloody Wonders and a Versa Wing and I think something else out of that, but I have a whole stack of it. I had a problem for a while. The local Dollar Trees had run out of decent. They had a bunch of bent up crap, but decent, good, like straight foam they were out of. So when I did find it, I bought a handful of it just to have on hand. At $1 a piece, it's kind of easy to get.
Right.
A few to have on hand. So I've got some. I just don't know what my next project is. I think I want to build another FT something or another. But I like to cheat. I like to take plans that somebody else has done and cut them out and just do it. So I admire you from just totally going scratch build.
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
more or less. Like I said, I did copy, which turns out to be Lee's wing. But the thing I noticed about the Dollar Tree foam, I had the same problem. It wasn't real straight, but I found, especially with the wing, because you're laminating it with hot glue. So once you spread the hot glue and squeeze it down, if you press heavy weight on it, on a flat surface. By the time that stuff cools, you got a perfectly flat piece of foam board. So
Yeah.
if it's not real straight to start off with, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, and for the most part, you're not leaving entire surfaces. Maybe if you're doing a nut ball or something, but most of your surfaces are going to be a lot smaller than that. I did try, like, stacking them with like a piece of heavy glass on top to kind of compress everything down, and I left it that way for weeks. Took the glass off, and the foam board just warps right back the way it was. So, but when I build with it, I don't really notice at all, actually.
Yeah. But the other thing I learned is that the glue gun that I have is not low temp, and a high temp glue gun melts foam pretty quickly.
Yes, indeed.
That was funny at first when I first started working with my fuselage. I put hot glue on it and it just melted in my hands.
Nice.
So,
oh, you're gonna have a blast once you figure out the tiny little things. You're gonna have a blast. That's one of the plans when I come back from vacations. I'm gonna focus a lot with my scratch builds. So yeah, they're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a foam massacre here yesterday.
Oh, you did?
My friend built a beautiful Harrier jet out of blue foam.
Yeah.
And he cut all the wings with a hot wire. It was fantastic. He's got a 90mm ducted fan in it, and he launched it. Or made in flight. He tried to launch it with a bungee because it needs a lot of speed, obviously, to take off. You can't do it but hand launching. And this bungee, I mean, he put a lot of tension in it, and when he pressed the release, this thing just did a death spiral at 100 miles an hour along the ground on the end of this elastic, and just hit the ground and just obliterated it. It was quite funny.
Hey, you didn't film?
I did film it actually, but unfortunately, as it shoots across the ground, as I turn, I'm turning into the sunset, and it just goes black, so you can't really see it, unfortunately.
Ah, bummer.
Yeah, when I was looking at planes, I was actually really impressed. There's some people that truly do artwork with foam. I mean, they just really do some nice work. It's really impressive. Mine's mediocre at best, but it's my first. Back in the 80s, when I used to build sailplanes, we would cut wings for our sailplanes out of blue foam with hot wire.
Yeah, they look so cool. If you've got a good hot wire, I mean, you can cut out any shape you like, and we've actually done some wings ourselves with a hot wire, and you just basically cut out the two different profiles for the tip and the fuselage end of the wing.
Yep.
And then we just drag it over these. Basically make them out of a G10 piece of fiberglass, and you just drag the hot wire around the shape of the aerofoil, and the wings come out perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah. Back in college, in this area anyway, me and my friend were the first people to ever be able to do that, and so we were cutting wings and selling them to people around here, literally as fast as we can cut them. Man, we were going through blue foam like crazy, and it was funding. And I bought a really nice, at that time, Airtronics top of the line radio. I mean, it paid for all my RC stuff back then.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, let's hit Casper up. How you doing, man?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm kind of slow out here last few weeks. Got a heat spell of about 95 with many of those days accompanied with wind, so not really conducive to flying. I did grab the 450 and take it out today in between some rain showers. I don't know if you guys come across this, but a couple times when I've been out at that field, I get a couple birds joining me and kind of being territorial about the place I'm flying my helicopter. They're kind of hawking the helicopter, and if I make a move towards them, they'll back off, but they're kind of in the vicinity as I'm trying to fly. So that kind of proves interesting.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of that on videos where the birds will attack, planes and helicopters. When I fly in my yard, I can see the hawks kind of come around and hover over to check things out, but they usually stay out of the way. But they're definitely looking at it to see what it is.
Yeah.
The FAA.
Yeah, it's those FAA drone killers.
Anyway, I hadn't pulled the trigger on the Blade 600, and it came in. Yeah, it's a combo kit minus an ESC, so I ordered an ESC, so I'm waiting for that to come in. The Blade 500, I want to get a few more flights on it. It's a flybar system right now, but since the 500X is a flybarless version and they have many of the same parts, I started assembling the flybar portion of that kit. Probably eventually turn that into a flybarless system. So I started putting the head together on that today. Give me something to do. So other than that, trying to get some flights in and try to get some more sim time in.
Nice. I still suck at simming. It's harder now too because my son is simming. The transmitter, the interleak transmitter is in his room, so it's not even as convenient for me as it used to be because I've got to go either sim in his room with him or grab it and take the transmitter. So the more I try and sim on a regular basis, the less it works out for me right now for some reason.
When you were at IRCHA, did you get a chance to play with AccuRC?
I did. Yeah, I demoed it. They had a really cool setup in the Encore RC booth. And they had them on 3D TVs, and so not only did I check out the sim just in general, I got to fly in 3D with the 3D glasses and all that. It was really cool. The problem I think was getting used to the 3D environment for one, because the way it's rendered in 3D. The ground isn't in 3D, but that. So anyway, the ground kind of sneaks up on you quicker than you'd think. So if you think you're 2 feet off the ground, you're actually going to hit it. And that took me a little while to get used to. But it was really cool. The graphics were amazing. I got to check out the workshop, see, went through setting up different components for different helis. It was really cool. So I'm excited. It looks like it's really starting to take off. I know Encore RC's got them, and I think I just saw that. Was it Rotary Wing RC? Not sure now which other shop just announced that they'll be carrying them. But anyway, so I think it's going to be pretty popular, and I would imagine in the next year that it's going to be one of the big three. You'll hear about Phoenix, Real Flight, and AccuRC.
Okay.
Only downside is they don't do any planes, so at least not that I'm aware of. And I love Phoenix and Real Flight because in both of those I can go fly planes too. But
I think they're planning on putting planes in eventually.
I thought I saw a piece of either literature or a demo screen or something that had a plane on it, and it kind of surprised me. But I haven't seen that actually in any sim demos or anything. So yeah, you're probably right. Anything else, Casper, you got going?
No, I have the AccuRC. The only drawback I don't like is for throttle hold. You have to use keyboard input right now. So.
Oh, you can't program your transmitter?
Not as I understand it. So.
Is it a
keyboard?
Does it allow all 6 channels?
Yeah, I think so. And also, your idle up in your is also a keyboard insert.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
So.
Yeah.
Unless I'm misreading something. So.
Maybe it's just a well, obviously it's a controller configuration. Whether or not that's available and yet or not is one thing, or whether or not you've actually been able to figure out how to get it to work with your transmitter is the other. So,
Right.
but that would seem really weird to practice and have to use a keyboard to do some of those controls.
That didn't sound right. I'd probably shoot Amy an email and ask him. He did the beta test on that, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll probably respond after he listens to this.
Yeah, we'll see a blast from him tomorrow morning on this. So yeah, he was doing a lot of beta testing and probably would know as well as anybody. Maybe Ashley's watching. He could tell us.
That's it.
All right. Cool. I see, Clay, you're back. We'll hit you. You were next on my list before you dropped off and came back.
Cool. Yeah, I left to use the restroom and I came back and my computer was restarting and running updates in my absence. So I'm now coming to you from the iPhone. Nothing much. Busy as usual between work and everything else. Had a lot of fun. Got the 550, I think, pretty much dialed in with the icon. I like it. I'm pretty happy with it. Been flying that. Had the 450 out of the field with me the other day, too. It was bright and sunny, and I had it flying, and I was like, I got to get some sunglasses. So I brought it down and landed it in the field I fly at. There's a good bit of grass out there, but normally where everybody parks at, it's kind of an incline and a lot of wash, so there's dirt. So I landed it, and I hit a little patch of dirt, and the tail rotor spun up some dirt. I didn't think anything about it. I turned around and grabbed my glasses out of the truck and turned back around and spooled it up and brought it in the air, and it was fine. And right when I went to go take off back across the field, the only thing I could figure is dirt got in the tail, and it locked and just spun out of control. So the 450's down. But the 550 is running good. I'm having fun with it. Other than that, normal stuff. Still in the middle of remodeling the master bath. Got all that gutted out and new plumbing put in. Tomorrow I get to start with drywall, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Other than that, not much, nothing. Possibly got a second job. And I would love to get some of your the input from you guys. Aerial photography. There's an advertising firm here, and the guy that normally does it is another guy that I fly with at the field. He's going back to school and stuff. That's all started back up for him, so he can't do it much anymore. So my name got tossed in the hat. It's a hexacopter. It's nice. I think it's like an 800 size, maybe 1,000. It's big. It's really big. But they don't even know what they've got the functions programmed to in the transmitter as far as hold mode, GPS hold, attitude hold. They don't know where everything's at. So today I was looking at it and trying to mull it over and figure out what's what, and it's kind of interesting. But in light of the FAA's new intervention in the RC hobby, I don't know what's what and what to expect and what's thumbs up and what's not. So that's got to be leery on whether or not I should do this or not. But other than that, I'm pretty excited about it. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's pretty cool. So what flight controller does it have on it?
They had someone build it for them and set it up, program it, and then send it to them. So it's got a Turnigy radio. I don't know how they ended up with a Turnigy radio, but it doesn't look like it's that bad a radio.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Turnigy radios, so that doesn't turn me off too bad.
INXR?
I have no experience with the Turnigy. I'm a Spectrum guy, so I don't know. But is Turnigy, are they like part of Hobby King? Is it?
Yeah, they're a Hobby King.
Yeah, it's Hobby King. But their 9X and 9XR and now 9XR Pro are fairly well regarded, radios, especially in the people that like to tinker, the tinker community. I would definitely prefer that over like an orange radio.
Yeah. Well, the actual hexacopter is nice. It's an open controller. And like I said, I was just tinkering with it today, just trying to figure out what the functions have, well, they've got it programmed, where everything's at, because you need to know. But they went over and showed me some footage of stuff that they've been doing. It's pretty interesting stuff, so I'm excited about it.
That's cool. You know, on the FAA thing, I heard an interview with somebody, and I'm trying to think of who it was. It was on the RC Today show, and crap, I don't remember exactly who it was. Somebody who runs a hobby shop of some sort, or an FPV business. And the comment, and I'm loosely paraphrasing this, so you guys will have to go back and listen to the interview. It was not the most recent RC Today show, but the one before. They just released two kind of back to back. But anyway, the comment was something similar to, until the FAA releases some guidance or some rules that are actually realistic, you can pretty much just disregard them at this point, because what they've thrown out is so outlandish and unreasonable that they can't expect us to actually follow it. And some of it was around the context of, if you think that, they're going to totally just limit people doing demos for the hobby or doing videos of, helicopters flying in order to sell helicopters, they're just ridiculous. So, I mean, it was kind of one of those, look, until you throw something that's actually reasonable, we're just going to disregard until you give us something that's usable. So.
Well, that works good for you and I, but not for a man with a badge. So, it's kind of like, what do you do?
Yeah, but who's the enforcement authority? I know the local police department doesn't have.
That was my question too. I don't know. And before I dive into this, I wanted some definitive guidelines, just so I'd know where I was at. But the cool thing about it is, like I said, it's something I enjoy doing. It's not my equipment, so I don't have to fork out a lot of money.
That makes it nice.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it goes.
Well, I would say if you follow the guidelines from AMA, I think you're pretty safe. Right now, as CPO mentioned, there's nobody to enforce the law because it's just outrageous. So I would go only give it a good read of AMA and keep a copy of their rules.
Right.
And just show them if something happens. Well, if something happens. But basically, give it a shot. I would go for it.
Well, I'm seriously considering it. I'm gonna probably do it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
The 9XR radio, well, depends on the Turnigy. Also check if it's not a Spectrum module on the back, because sometimes they use the Turnigy and they have an expansion, like the expansion transmitter in the back.
Right.
So sometimes they use the orange stuff, which is Spectrum.
No, it's not like it's no. I don't believe it's that.
Might be 100. Yeah, might be 100% Turnigy.
Might very well be. Like I said, wasn't able to dig under the plate and see exactly what's in there.
And the frame is not something that you've seen so often, right?
No, it's huge. It's a hexacopter.
It's a DJI frame, isn't it? If I remember.
Might be.
Did you see? Yeah, Lee, you saw.
I thought it was whatever it is, the 500 one or whatever.
I don't know. I posted the picture on the RCH site. You saw it. But it flies good, so I'm not concerned with that. I just don't want to go throwing a switch thinking it's going to do one thing and it do something else. That was my only concern, is that they didn't know what the transmitter functions were programmed as. That was really my only concern. But the thing flies.
Where's the guy that was flying it? Doesn't he know?
No, see, he didn't program it. That's what I'm telling you. They bought it and ordered it from some store off of the internet, and they programmed it up and shipped it to him.
So nobody's ever really flown it?
No, it's been flown. But like I said, it's not his, so he's like, he just picks it up and goes with it. And what's really weird is they'll put the FPV goggles in the hands. The camera guy will hold the FPV, and the pilot just flies with eyesight. That way he gets his camera. They've only got one camera hooked up to it. They're doing it really, really weird.
Well, there you go. You're not breaking any law. You're flying eyesight, and the guy with the camera is tracking.
He's directing the pilot. So
other than that, requirement they're trying to lay down that says if you do it for commercial purposes, but outside of that, but I still think that's unreasonable, and nobody's going to enforce it.
Wow. Well, nobody said I was getting paid.
It's a hobby.
No.
As long as you do it for fun.
My computer is back up. I'm going to try to sign back on so I don't have to hold a phone.
Okay.
Guys, I'm going to say goodnight. My tequila high is dying off.
All right. Well, have a good night, Lee. Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Night.
Good night, Lee.
Good night, Lee.
Night.
All right, Jim. We'll go to you now while Clay goes and gets back online.
Well, I've still been monkeying with that 450, and I did take it down. And the guy at the I told you there was two guys at the hobby shop that fly for companies. Well, right towards the end of last week, one of them was in because they just go in there part-time. But he flies for Blade, and he had two 700s down there he was going to take out and ring out after he got off. But he looked it all over, and he couldn't see anything wrong with the helicopter. And he did put the plus 30 Expo in the transmitter. And I had my rate and head holding, which really didn't mean anything, but reversed. My head holding was down and the rate was up. So he just would switch those around so that all the switches are up when you take off. And I was just out with it tonight, and that goofy thing is still not right. It's just something is just it'll get up a little ways and it will start to wander. Sometimes the tail will go one way or the other. And I went through the setup with the I don't know if you guys set yours up the same way, but from what I'd read was when they're setting up their gyros, they put them in rate mode, and then they adjust the solid linkage so that it will stay stable in rate mode, which ends up giving you a little bit of offset on your rear rotors.
That's how I do mine.
Okay, well, that's what I had done, and of course, right away when you do that, then your slider is not in the center anymore. It can't be. Yeah,
it's not supposed to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I was just looking. I'm grasping at straws, and matter of fact, I was going to ask you guys, do you, in your minds, from what all this bunk that I've gone through with this 450 before I put a shotgun to it, do you think it's me? And I don't mind anybody saying it. I mean, I don't get it. Why this thing's doing this?
You have another helicopter that flies well?
The first one I had was a fixed pitch, and I had no problem with it.
Don't you have another heli, a bigger one, though?
Yeah, I got a 600.
And how do you fly it?
I don't right now, because I was wanting to get that 450 going, because I didn't want anything weird going wrong with that 600, because it cost a lot more to fix something. But I mean, it's not like I've smashed the daylights out of this. I went through, I guess, about 6 battery charges, and all I was doing was taking that 450 and just starting to bring it up off the ground and letting it see what it wanted to do on its own. And then I was trying.
That's your first problem, because it'll do whatever it wants to do.
Well, like even tonight, it was dead stick calm outside, and every time you lifted it off the ground, it did something different.
So yeah, I think part of it is a misnomer that the 450 is an easy heli to fly, and it's actually quite the contrary. It's hard to fly, actually. It's very jumpy and twitchy. Especially in comparison to, say, the 600, you'd almost be better served to get that 600 built up and use that as your hover trainer.
Yeah,
because it'll be a lot more stable.
I would go that way.
The 600 is built. I just had to get a different tail servo for it, because the first time I took it out in the backyard and took it up off the ground, the tail, it wanted to wander, and I couldn't dial it out, and it was slipping around. And then when I went down there and got a hold of someone else at the hobby shop, they said, "Oh, this was another guy that sold me the first servo. He had just looked it up on a chart or something, and it said it was for that, but they said the guys in the know said, no, that you don't want that servo in there. That is definitely not for that." So they got me in the right one. I've got it down there laying right beside it, and I've just never even bothered to put it in, because I thought, well, I don't know what I'm starting to doubt everything. Actually, none of that stuff really makes me nervous about it coming off the ground or anything, because I know it's never going to get to me. I'll stick it anywhere before it's going to get to me. But actually, I'm more nervous before I even started rotoring up, spinning up, because I don't know what to expect from it. That's the part that's got me going.
Well, keep in mind that you can't compare a fixed pitch heli to a collective pitch heli. They're going to be completely different animals. As far as your collective pitch helicopter, you're not going to be able to put it in a hover, even in dead calm wind, and expect it to just sit there. You're going to constantly be adjusting both the tail and your swash constantly. You're going to be on the aileron, elevator, just super tiny little bumps here and there to be able to hold it in that hover. Otherwise, it will, within a very short amount of time, the tail will drift around, or it'll start drifting to the side or back or forward. And some of that even depends on your setup, how lovely your swash is. I mean, it gets really complicated. It's really difficult to sometimes troubleshoot that stuff without actually having your hands on it.
Yeah, I can understand, because I mean, I'm just telling you a story, and since you're not standing there visual, seeing what's going on, or even flying it yourself, you might fly it and say, "Hey, this dude's dialed in perfect." So then that means it's me. So I'm sitting there starting to doubt myself now.
It is hard to help someone pinpoint an issue without seeing it. That is difficult. But I mean, you definitely be comfortable with the 600 before you pull it up, because just like you were saying, it's totally different, and there's no such thing as hands-free. It's you've constantly got to be giving input, and gradual input, nothing major, but still input.
Yeah, they're just really tiny bumps with both thumbs. You're never really sitting there. Your thumbs are doing something continually.
Yeah, I had the 600 up 2 or 3 times in the backyard, but that's when it was that servo. I guess it was. I think the guy said it was way too slow or something.
Yeah, it needs to be digital.
All my servos are digital.
Oh yeah, but the tail servo is the most important one. Otherwise, it's never going to correct properly, and you're going to have the fishing tail effect that it's going to be constantly readjusting it, and it's never going to get into that sweet spot. And so it's going to be waggling his tail all over the place because of that constant trying to fix it. Well, not fixing, but kind of finding the same servo and the gyro. So he's never going to find his own sweet spot. So yeah, need to be a fast digital servo, fast one.
Yeah, I think I don't know what the speed was on the first tail servo they sold me for the 600. I know the one on my 450 at 6 volts I think is .03. I mean, it's really quick. And
yeah.
But all of my servos are digital. So I just thought, well, I mean, you know, but the 600 spinning up and coming up off the ground, that really didn't intimidate me or anything because I was like 30 feet away from it. But I don't have a great big area to fly it in the backyard, but I don't want to go up to a park and fly for 6 minutes and leave and then have to come home and charge it for 50 minutes or an hour. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I just want to take it up and just be able to, well, if I can, you know, just move it around a little bit in the backyard. I've got 65 by 90 feet, but that's not all totally clear. About 2/3 of it is. So that should give me enough room where if it wants, you know, well, like, if it wants to slip 10 feet to the right or the left or front or back, I have no problem. That's, you know, it's not going to hit anything. But it's just that every time it's something different.
Did you, I don't remember this, did you say you had a simulator?
Yeah. I got, matter of fact, I was thinking about, I've got the 6.5, and Clay, that's the guy that flies for Blade. Oh yeah, he was over there at Ursha. I think he was putting on some flight demos or something for Blade. I'm not sure, but yeah, he was saying that the 7, he liked it better than the 6.5. But there's something about that looks. I know it's called real flight, but to me it looks unreal flight.
Well, let's ignore how it looks. How do you fly in real flight? I mean,
I can hover it on the small dot. I can hover any of them on the small dot.
On the small dot.
Yeah, you know, when in that beginner's area they've got the big circle, and then they got a smaller circle. Okay, well, I can keep it in that smaller circle. And if I'm just free flying it, I'm not doing anything fancy, but I mean, I can take it out, you know, and pull the nose up and stop it, and then bring it back, you know, not too close to me, and stop it by pushing the nose forward. I can't do any fancy maneuvers or anything.
Right. No, I'm just wondering, you know, you're hovering, because, I mean, the physics obviously are improved between real flight 6.5 and 7, but the physics weren't horrible in 6. They were still usable and fairly realistic. So I was just wondering if there was a relationship between what you're feeling in the sim and what you're feeling in real life.
If anything, I'd say the sim is a little more jumpy. You know, you have to even take a lighter touch on it. I wish you could take and use, you know, like your own radio and be able to put in like your Expo.
You can. You should be able to.
Oh, you can? What, in 7 or?
In all of them, you should be able to. Even you've got the Interlink controller, right?
Yeah.
You should be able to attach your controller to the Interlink and then use it, kind of like a buddy box sort of a cable.
Yeah, the cables, everything. I've got the cables and stuff, but I didn't know that they had some place in there where you could set expo and.
Well, you do it on your
change-
transmitter, but you can
right.
you can also set that stuff in the interlink settings in the software controller settings.
I haven't seen that.
I don't have 6.5. I've got 7, but I'm pretty sure it was available in previous versions.
Yeah, you should be able to set it in your transmitter as well.
I think if you go to the model settings, let's say you've got whatever helicopter set up, go to the settings for that, and then in the settings for that you should see software controller, and you should be able to change things like expo and your channel assignments and all of that.
Will it allow you to put a throttle and pitch curve in?
I don't remember what it has in there.
Okay, yeah, because I've been changing that a little bit. Because Clay down at the hobby shop, he was saying he was telling me he was looking at my radio. He says, "Well, you ought to have a little bit more negative when you're at 0." So he put a little bit more in that, and then to help flatten, get up so that at mid stick I could get a little flatter area, a little wider flat area for hovering.
Did he look at your? So let me ask you this: he didn't fly the helicopter, did he?
No, they're in a hot like a mall.
Okay. Right. So then the other question is, did he look at your gyro setup?
Which part of it? Oh, you mean the settings?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went through the whole every setting in the radio.
Not the radio, but the gyro itself.
Oh, on the helicopter.
On the heli, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and in the rate mode, he said, yeah, that pitch. He said everything looks right.
Okay.
I think the next step would be to see if you can meet him out at the field and have him actually fly your machine to see if you are getting the same inputs as he is.
Then you'll know right away whether or not it's you or the machine.
Right.
Yeah, and this guy, I mean, I've seen him even fly the simulator, and what he can do on that simulator, it's even hard to follow with your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he's a 3D flyer, hardcore.
Yeah, just set up a time to meet him out at the field, and I'm sure in about 5 minutes he can tell you if it's you or the helicopter.
Yeah, I think
give it a shot. You wouldn't lose anything just for him to give it a shot and a little, I don't know, hover and fish to try the tail. And he probably gonna give you a good input on what's wrong with a helicopter, or probably not a 450 is the greatest approach, and probably you're gonna have a better approach with a 600. When I picked up my 600, it was just great flying it. I learned a lot with it, and it was a completely different bird from the 450, and I'm just in love with the 600.
Yeah. Well, speaking of those two, I mean, now I never got a chance to try it with the 600, but I've noticed that, like with that 450, I can't make the tail wag.
So what is the problem with it?
Well, I mean, the fact I think you should be able to make it wag and then dial it down from there. He looked at my settings, which rate was 30 and head holding was 80. And he says, that's about right, to him. And he set up, he said when he flies these 700 nitros and stuff, he likes to put 40 expo in it for his. Now, that's him. For doing all those wild maneuvers and stuff that they do. But it just seems like, I mean, it's everything I've ever seen on YouTube. They say, okay, if you lift it up and the tail's wagging, you want to start slowly bringing the gain down. Well, it seems to me like, okay, if the tail is not wagging, if you start pumping the gain up, it should start wagging.
To a degree. I mean, every heli is going to be a little bit different, but I've been in a circumstance where in a hover, it might not wag the way it might normally wag with high gain, but as soon as I start doing forward flight is when it gets all out of control and crazy.
Right. Uh-huh.
So you may not experience some of that just hovering.
How many of you guys, anybody there that has like a Spectrum, I got the DX6i, what is your, if you remember, what's your rate and head holding numbers?
It's going to depend. It's not going to matter because every single gyro or fly barless controller is going to make that difference. Every single heli is going to be different.
Well,
So
this is the Flybar Taro 450 Pro.
So my point is, I don't think you can query everybody on this call and say what's your numbers and use that as any comparison whatsoever.
Okay.
I don't even know if it'll help you at all.
Oh.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've never understood on HeliFreak is, people will ask, well, what are your settings? Well, reality is it doesn't matter what my settings are or what your settings are because our helis are different. Our fly barless controllers may be different. Our radios may be slightly different. And all those little small differences add up to where one big difference. It's almost impossible to, and I've seen people do that all the time, especially with new pilots. They'll say, oh, your pitch curve should be this. Well, that's not necessarily true. You don't know how their helicopter's set up, so I think that's just really bad advice to just copy somebody else's numbers because it's really going to vary a little bit between person to person and heli to heli.
Yeah, I guess the main reason I was wondering about the different settings was it just seemed to me like, I'm going back to that YouTube again. So many of those things they have on there where somebody's setting up their gyro, they're just lifting it off the ground, and that's it. And that tail will be sitting there doing that, or it'll be dead steady or going left or right, and then they'll land it and they'll make an adjustment here or there, and then they go, oh no, that's a lot better. Now we can try it, And it just seemed like, well, if you can dial it out, you should be able to dial it in.
Yeah, but it may not work like that with your heli is the challenge. So I understand the principle, and that's a pretty common practice to up the gain until you have a negative result, aka wag, and then back it down to where you don't have that. But I know people who argue that that's not a sound method either. But I don't think some helis will respond differently to that than others, and that's kind of going to be the hard part. You really need somebody who is at least an experienced enough pilot to look at your heli, fly it, and go, okay, I can at least fly this. And then there's a difference between flyable and like fine-tuning for perfection. If it's even close as far as your settings, you should be able to hover it. It may not be optimal for flight and doing some maneuvers, but unless you've got a wag of death going on, it should be hoverable at least.
Yeah, mine, even with, when I get it up about 2.5 or 3 feet, it's already starting to want to go somewhere, so I'll just bump it a little bit the other way, and it's not like I'm trying to fly it, hands free or anything, but it just, even when you bump it, it just, I don't know, it's hard even for me to explain. To me, it does not seem like it is hoverable. Well,
I'm concerned more that you have an unrealistic expectation of what it's supposed to do in the air. Because for me, hovering my 450 isn't a matter of bumping it just to keep it in line. It's a constant, continuous interaction
Yeah.
I mean, it's not, oh, I just got to make an adjustment and then, oh, another adjustment. I mean, it's constant interaction with the helicopter. It literally is like balancing a marble on a plate. You're like this the entire time, and the better you get, the more subtle that looks. But when you're starting out, you're literally going to be flying it like this just to keep it in a hover, and that's what you should expect. And if you let go of the stick for a second, it's going to go this way, and it's going to go that way. I'm concerned that you may be expecting it to fly easier than I think it probably really is, and that might be your concern. I mean, it really is a constant battle, just to learn to hover it.
Yeah, Jim,
Dave, go ahead.
I was going to say, when I first started, I started on the 450, and I could tell you for literally, I'm not kidding, for the first month at least, I swore that thing was unflyable. I could hover it for, 6 inches off the ground for a few seconds at a time, and 30 seconds at a time, and even, a month, at least a month later, maybe a little bit more, I was still swearing there's either this helicopter, there's something wrong with it, or this is just impossible. This is not possible to do. But I kept at it, and I kept at it, and all of a sudden it just clicked. And I don't know what happened or how it happened, but all of a sudden I'm holding it in a hover, and then once you're holding it in a hover, then you can do that. But just to move it forward and backward, again, it's just these baby steps, and it takes so much work to get to the next step. And at times, often for me, it just seemed like, this is nuts. This isn't how this should be. And when in fact it actually is how it should be. And one of the things I enjoy about this is the amount of effort that I have to put into it to get to that stage. Because when I get to that stage, it's like, yeah, I'm doing it. But I remember that's something I'll never forget. That first month with my 450, swearing at it, thinking, this is impossible. This is not possible.
Yeah, I keep working with the thing. I'm really surprised I haven't lost my temper with it. But the only thing I'm losing my temper with is I've got 6 minutes, and then I've got to charge the battery. And unless I had a whole bunch of batteries in a charger, but I'm thinking, oh, wait a minute, I don't want to put a bunch more into this yet, until I see that, for 6 minutes I can fly the whole battery out and not have to land it. I don't care if it's slip sliding around or whatever, but just so long as I have it under control for 6 minutes.
I think even at that stage, if you had at least 4 batteries, that would be really good. I think 6 minutes really isn't enough time to get the experience and to teach your thumbs what they need to learn. What I found early on was I would fly 4 batteries at about 6-7 minutes apiece, and I was done. I was wiped out mentally. I was exhausted. And of course, over time it got easier and better, and I bought more batteries. Now I've got a large box full of batteries. But I think starting out, to be able to fly 6 minutes and then have to wait and charge, you're not going to grow as fast as you would like to or need to. I think you need to be able to, at a minimum, throw on another battery and go at it again, and just do that.
Yeah, that's what I wish I could do, because, like I say, I had it out there tonight, and it was just dead stick calm. And that 6 minutes, I mean, since I'm landing it and making an adjustment, or because when I first started I had to adjust the rate mode so that it didn't want to try to go somewhere without any inputs or anything. And just by the time I got that done and started to lift it off 2 or 3 times after that, the 6 minutes was up.
Yeah. So
I was curious, Chris, why did you select the 6-cell instead of a 3-cell that had more milliamps?
More power. I went with more power right off the get-go.
You gotta invest in batteries. You gotta have batteries.
Yeah, well, I was just curious because, I mean, in that Taro thing, I forget what battery they recommend, but it was a 3-cell.
Yeah, normal 450 is a 3-cell.
Yeah.
That's the typical 450 build.
And if you had like a 3-cell 4,000 milliamp or something, you get a lot more flight time, right?
I don't know if you'd fit a 3-cell 4,000 milliamp, but I mean, yeah, the more. So regardless of the number of cells, right? That's your voltage. The milliamp is what you want for more capacity. The problem is you're limited on what you can fit on the Heli. So I've got a 1.3 or a 1,300 milliamp 6S battery that I use on my 450, and I don't think I could fit much bigger than that.
That's what I've got. I've got the same battery you did in the build on YouTube. That nanotech.
Yeah.
I've got that on there, and there's plenty of room for it. I got that. Well, I went ahead and bought all those updated parts when I got my Taro.
You just need more batteries now.
But I just wondered, wouldn't it be better? I never looked up to see the physical measurements on like a 3-cell that was, say, 3,000 milliamps or even 2,600. That'd give me double the time.
It won't fit.
It won't fit. The largest 3-cell you can put on a 450 is the 2,200 milliamp hour battery.
I've seen a couple.
Yeah, mine's 2250.
Exactly.
2250 milliamp is about all I fit on mine on a 3-cell. Now you can put a small 6-cell. What is it, 1300 if you're running a 6-cell system. But to do that, you're gonna have to make sure your motor can hack it, your ESC can hack it, and unless you're getting 350 to a 360 millimeter blade, there's really no need. Stick with a 3-cell.
Yeah.
So unless it's a stretch, there's really no need for a 6-cell.
So I'm going to shortcut this conversation a little bit because I want to get into another thing before we wrap up. But Jim, I do want to say, kind of to carry on what Casper recommended earlier, I think at this point you owe it to yourself to meet up with somebody who can take that Heli for a test flight and just make sure that your Heli is set up well enough for you to be able to learn. Because right now you're fighting two issues. One of them is you being new, and the other one is not trusting your equipment that it's set up and ready to go. So if your equipment's not ready, you're going to have a hard time learning. And if you don't trust your equipment and it is ready, and it's just you that needs to learn, you're always going to be messing with your equipment. So I would say the recommendation is to go meet this guy Clay or somebody else at a field that can at least just take it out and fly it and go, yeah, this thing is at least in a position where you can learn to use it. And then you know it's all on you, and you don't have to keep wondering if making another adjustment or another setting change is going to fix your problem.
And buy 3 more batteries.
And buy batteries. And don't feel bad about that either. I mean, you might have heard me say this before, but when I went to IRCHA, I took my 550 Raptor out there, and I let Gary Wright, one of the Thunder Tiger team pilots, fly my helicopter just so I knew that somebody who really knows that helicopter can fly it and let me know if there's any problems. And he actually made some tweaks and adjustments. He set the governor gain for me that I hadn't set yet because he likes the governor gain set a certain way. And but it was kind of reassuring to see somebody take that helicopter and go fly it the way it needs to be flown, so that I know what it's capable of first of all, and everything else is now on me. I brought that helicopter back, and I'm 100% confident that if I learn how to fly it, it will fly. So I would say you owe it to yourself as a new pilot to rid yourself of the burden of trying to figure out if it's a mechanical problem. Get that out of the way first, and then you can focus on your own training.
No, I agree.
Yeah, I didn't want to develop tinkeritis, wanting to tweak something every time I turned it on. So yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
I mean, you're already talking about landing it 3 or 4 times in one battery, just trying to hover. So I think you need to make sure you get that stuff out of the way. So all you have to do is focus on using that entire 6 minutes to keep that thing in the air.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
So
That's it.
I did want to take an opportunity to show these.
Pretty.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Zeal Blades box.
The blades in a coffin.
Yes. So I'm very surprised that they still are packaging them this way. I had heard an interview. I think it was Josh Brannon was on RC Today show, and he was talking about, you know, how much cost goes in to just the packaging on these. And of course, as a pilot, nobody really cares what box it's in once you put it on the heli. But this does come with a really nice sort of a, I guess it's a plexiglass sort of a case. Let me take this out of here.
The box probably costs as much as the blades.
Yeah, I mean it's got the felt lining on it. It definitely it is a coffin, which is totally crazy. But
yeah, they look totally lifelike.
In some regard, it's really awesome to get a box like this and just know that, you know, it's cool.
Those are the kind of things that you keep forever, man. You'll find a use for them, and it's just one of those things. It's just neat.
Yeah, they did come with some a nice couple bags of shims here, so I'm sure I'll be taking advantage of those. And then, of course, the blades themselves are pretty beautiful.
Which copter is this for?
This is for my 700 Raptor.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta let us know how they fly. Another guy on the forum just got to set it up for his 450. He's really stoked on them. I don't believe he's flown it yet, but they look good on the bird.
My understanding is that they're very aggressive blades, and most people end up having to tune down the flybarless controller a little bit because they're so aggressive. So I'm keeping that in mind when I put them on. But Casper, was it you that said did you have some of these Zeals?
Yeah, I've got them on my 480 stretch.
That's right. That's right.
350 millimeter blades.
And you liked them, but you said you had some fitment issues. Was it the shimming?
Yeah, I had to use some shims to make it fit tight enough in the grip. Otherwise, they'd kind of lag, so I had to shim them. But other than that, they worked great.
Cool. Did the 450 size come with shims, or that 460s?
No.
Huh.
I have to open it. I ordered a second set, and I just got them in. I haven't opened them up to see if they might have shims in them, but the original box that I got didn't have them in.
Now, do they come in a coffin too?
The forum, his did come with them, I believe. He did a little unboxing video of it. I think his did come with them.
Well, in my 350, the first box didn't have them in. I haven't opened the second box that I've got. That I just got in.
Nice. And then, of course, the other thing I got was 115 millimeter tail blades to match. So the Raptors come with 100 millimeter, I think, maybe 95 millimeter tails, and everybody pretty much across the board recommends the 115s. So I'm all set.
For a 700 size, that's about right. It's about 110, something like that, 110, 115. Yeah. I run 96s on the 550 myself, so.
So yeah, apparently the Raptor is notorious for wanting higher head speed, and so in order to keep the tail where it needs to be, you got to crank up the head speed. But if you run a normal head speed, putting these 115s on seems to make it a little bit better. So we'll see. I'm kind of excited about that. But again, I got lots of parts, but I still don't have an airframe yet. So.
What's the rumor about Thunder Tiger and your future 700 that it's not doing so well?
I haven't heard that rumor. What's the rumor?
That probably they're sold out. That they kind of they're in a broken bench right now. The Raptor and also the engines they produce, that they're not doing that well, and probably they're gonna drop off everything. But somebody was gonna pick up the helicopter part. I'm not sure. It was a rumor. I heard.
I hadn't heard that, and that would surprise me because the Raptor really is their sort of. I mean, that's their line. That's had them on the map for many years.
Yeah, that's carried them for a while.
And especially just coming out with a V2 700. I mean, literally, the 700 V1 was only out. I don't know. It's only been out less than a year, and they've already upgraded it to a V2 version. It seems like they're investing way more energy into something that might be going away. I don't see it, but.
Is your 700 going to be electric?
Yes.
No. And what battery or batteries are you going to run in that?
My batteries are in, let's see, they're in Indianapolis right now, and I'm running Revolectrix, so 6S 5000 milliamp, which is the same battery I use in my 550, but the 700 will take 2 of those, so it'll be a 12S 5,000 milliamp system.
A 6-cell 5,000 milliamp?
Yeah.
What flight time are you getting out of that 550 with the 5,000 milliamp on it? I'm running a 5,500 milliamp 45C 6L pack on my 550, and I've got the timer set at 5 minutes, but I can fly for, if I'm pushing it and doing stuff, it'll still last 7 minutes. If I leave it in normal mode and just kind of play around with it, I can get 8-9 minutes out of it.
Yeah, I haven't got that far, but I do feel like I get 6 or 7 minutes without a problem with my flying, which is mostly, just easy sport flying right now.
Yeah. I was just curious in what everybody else was getting because I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean the helicopter itself is pretty light, so that helps. Raj made it.
Raj, you're late.
I muted him.
He's muted.
Fellas, I'm going to bow out. I'm going to go upstairs and get ready for bed. It's been a long day. It was good to see everybody. Sorry I missed y'all last week.
All right, man.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, good luck with that bathroom.
Next one.
Take care, Clay.
Have a good one, Clay.
See you, man.
Good night.
So, Raj, can you hear us? He was
Unmute yourself, Raj.
He's in a time warp.
Hello.
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
How are you? How's things?
Good. How you been?
Tired. Just got in.
You're in D.C.?
Just got in. I got kicked out of the kitchen. Say again?
I said, are you trying to make us dizzy, or is that just an accident?
No, I was just moving locations. So,
what have you been up to the last couple of weeks?
11 and a half hours. About 11 and a half hours on the road today.
Oh.
And we're now at National Harbor in Washington, D.C. Going to be here for a week. We're going to be touring the Smithsonian.
You need a week to do that. That's for sure. Because there's a lot more than one.
Well, I think you need more than a week, really. I've heard that there's a lot of really neat stuff there that you don't even think about. There's a couple from church that were just there last week, and they said that the exhibit of the First Lady's gowns and china that they use is just spectacular. So, we got our work cut out for us.
Yeah, you'll have plenty to do.
So, look forward to it.
Yeah, but are there?
So, haven't been doing much flying. Say again?
I said, yeah, but are there any helicopters?
Oh, I'm sure there are. I'm sure over in the aviation area, there's going to be lots of exhibits of helicopters. I imagine that, Sikorsky is prominent over there, so I'll be looking at that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go to the
I
Air and
also want to
Space
see the
Museum.
Enola Gay. I want to see the Enola Gay. That's number one on my list.
Cool.
So what have we been talking about tonight?
All
Anything
kinds of
exciting?
stuff. Everything's exciting.
Okay.
I can't
I see that
rehash it. You're
joined
gonna have to
and
watch the video, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I plan on it. So I joined the video and Clay leaves.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
We
Did Adrian make it?
no, A didn't make it, and we had Leon for a little while, but he finally fell asleep. His tequila buzz wore off.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it's hard on those guys over there across the pond, though. I guess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Unless you're in
Maybe we
Australia, you just wake up early.
Is
Yeah,
there
it's
is
true.
there a time where we could maybe shift and accommodate them every once in a while to have them join us when they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and we're kind of blurry-eyed?
Yeah, I thought about it, except that I wouldn't be able to make it. So
Well,
therein lies
there's
the
always
challenge.
What about a weekend day or something like that?
Yeah, it gets tough.
Okay. Just a thought. Just a thought.
Yeah, I've tossed it around in my own head for a while, but
Okay.
maybe we'll do something.
Okay. Did you get your 700E yet?
No, I was just showing off the blades. My batteries are stuck in Indianapolis, and the airframe is still back ordered.
Bummer.
So, yeah.
They give you any kind of a time frame?
Yeah, I think it's. I think I'm expecting like the first or second week of September, so which is next week. So.
Yeah, basically.
I can wait another
That's
couple
not
weeks.
too. Yep. Not that far out.
Yeah.
You
Although I
plan
did get an email from Thunder Tiger America today advertising it for me, so they're rubbing it in. So back.
Is RJ gonna help?
You were kind of planning on it being a winter build anyway, right?
No, I was planning on
No?
building it immediately after IRCHA.
Oh, okay.
Is RJ gonna help you do the whole build?
Oh, CJ, yeah, he's going to be there for the entire thing, hopefully.
Oh.
Although he's not really interested in the build part, but I want him to be involved as much as he will stand it.
If you fly,
Yeah,
you
well,
gotta do it, fix it.
I think once he starts wrenching on it, he might, he might pick it up.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because he didn't get my tinker gene. I like to take things apart and put them together and play, and he just he just doesn't have that knack. Or he's got the knack, he doesn't have the desire. But we'll see. I think once we start building, I'm hoping you're right. But
yeah,
I definitely want him involved. He's helped me build a plane, and I think he might have secretly kind of enjoyed a little bit of that. So. But as far as he's concerned, he would rather me just, give him a transmitter and stick him out in the field and let him go. So.
Okay.
But we are getting ready to wrap up here. So, Roger, I didn't know if you had anything specific that you needed or wanted to talk about, but.
Not really. I just wanted to get in and say hi if I could, and luckily we kind of got that done. So.
Cool.
It was good to see all you guys again, and I will be watching the videos. So.
Cool.
Yeah, we lost darn near an hour coming across Pennsylvania with construction and 55-mile-an-hour speed limits. Just ugly. So anyway, we're here and ready to start touring. Okay.
Cool. Well, if you need anything, hit me up.
Okay, we'll do.
Quite a bit. So
Yeah, how far are you from here? How far are you from here?
30 minutes.
30 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, we go down every time we have visitors from out of state. That's we always go down and spend our time in DC with them. So
Okay.
it's a 30-minute train ride for us.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe later in the week we can plan a little get together, have a bite to eat or something.
Yeah, that might work.
Okay. All right. We'll be in touch. Take care, guys.
All right, see you.
See ya.
All right, see ya.
All right. Anybody else have anything? Last chance.
Chris, did you make any consideration about bypassing, not using a back and just going with a battery power?
No.
Yes.
I fully intend to use the BEC. I'm not super concerned. I was running a battery pack on my 550, and I moved back to the BEC. I really prefer to run it off the BEC if I can, and I'm also using a Scorpion Commander Series ESC, which is pretty significant. So I'm just going to run the BEC and a backup guard. So if I do have a problem, I'll have a backup. But
yeah.
I've never had a BEC go bad on me, so maybe I've just been lucky.
Okay.
What I hate is having to charge multiple batteries. It's kind of a pain.
That really sounds funny after you showed that picture of all those pigtails you made up to hook up all those batteries.
Yeah, but the funny thing is the receiver pack doesn't use any of those pigtails. It's got a separate plug, so it's like such a pain.
Yeah.
I do like having the receiver pack though for setup and all of that because I don't have to plug in the main flight pack. So there's no risk of the motor coming on or anything. I just basically fire up all the servos and the flybarless and then do my setup. So that is kind of convenient. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But
just one quick thing. Are all the flybarless systems, they all use 2 receivers, is that correct?
No, it depends. All of them, well, I can't even say most all of them. Many of them will allow for standard servo, or standard receiver connections where you have basically one cable per channel going to your receiver. Not all of them have that. Like my Futaba has S-bus only. So that's the other one is S-bus connection to a receiver, and then some of them have the ability to plug in Spectrum satellites directly to them. Most of those allow plugging in 2 satellites. So I'm not sure if that's what your question is, but generally.
I was just wondering, do you end up with a 3 gyro system?
Not sure I understand.
Well, instead of just strictly right and left, does it also control aileron and elevator? 3 gyro, like they have in the quadcopters.
So the gyros are multi-axis. They're I guess what maybe you're referring to is a 3-axis gyro, and they do control all the planes in the one unit, regardless of what receivers you're using. The gyros are all multi-axis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, I guess we'll call this one wrapped up. Hope you have a good next couple of weeks. I'll be on the road early in the morning to head to Canada. So wish me luck. And have fun in Hawaii. And Dave, good luck with your build.
Thank you.
Jim, seriously, go get somebody to take you to the field. I want you to not have to worry about your heli and just worry about your flying. So.
Right. That should be enough. I'm worried about 2 things.
Thanks, Casper. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.
All right. Good night,
Good
guys.
copy.
Night all.
Night, night.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody.